Hello, welcome to episode 6 of the Nina Blanco podcast. I know it's been a little bit, but I've been busy because your girl finally got a job. Let's, cover a little bit of the job stuff before I get into what I really wanted to talk about on this podcast, which is TV stuff. Even though, I got a new job at a radio station. Again, I can't help myself. It's like radio. Man, I've always told myself this, and other people have talked about this, and it's just a well-known thing, and we can't help ourselves. But radio is the most toxic relationship I have ever been in. And that's saying a lot because I had crazy ex-boyfriends. But I can't help myself. I went back to radio. I had talked about how I, would love to be back in radio. But I'm doing something a little bit different in radio. As far as the job goes, the new job, I'm actually not on air. I am working kind of behind the scenes of things a little bit, and I am working in the promotions department. I handle prizes and concert tickets and planning of events and remotes and just being a part of all that fun stuff. So I'm kind of part of the department that is the brains behind the radio station. I wonder if that's okay to say, but I think that is okay to say because a lot of people who are in radio, if you've ever been in radio, you know that the promotions department, we'd be lost without them. The promotions department, they do all the planning and they keep track of all the tickets and keep track of all the winners and legal stuff. And so, that's what I'm doing as of right now in Denver, working for another cluster of radio stations. And I'm doing promotion stuff. It's a little bit different from what I've done before. But at the same time, I've a little bit done this before. When I first got into radio, I had interned at a promotions department at a radio station. So I'm kind of going back to what I first did when working in radio. So it's been fun for me so far. I do really enjoy it. I like it a lot. And I've been looking forward to starting and learning and just being a part of it. And as far as I can tell, we have a lot of exciting things that this radio station is going to be a part of. So that's exciting for me. It'll keep me busy. And I work with Dubs every single day. Our cubicles are right next to each other. And it's been a lot of fun so far, although Dubs may say otherwise. He's already annoyed by me. But you know what? It is what it is. Anyway, that's a little bit of an update on the job stuff. And the job I just started last week. That's why I didn't release a podcast. I tried to record the week prior to that, and my computer stuff just wasn't working, so it just wasn't happening. And I finally am on week 2 of the job, and I'm like, okay, we can get back to podcast because now I know what my week kind of looks like, at least a little bit. So there that is. But I wanted to talk about TV on this episode because I totally forgot to mention a couple weeks ago that I was going to be on TV. It was like the day of that this episode was premiering, and I was like, oh shit, that's right. I'm going to be on TV. That's cool. So, I was on TV earlier this month. A little bit, kinda. I was in the background as a person that's just cheering on and clapping the whole time. But I was paid to do it, which is kind of cool. So let me show you this clip first. This clip is just part of a little promo. You can see me a tiny bit in the background, but check it out.
Broncos country, let's ride!
You guys ready for this?
We're ready. We're ready.
Team Denver will be taking.
And that was about it. It was an hour-long episode. It's called the NFL Tailgate Takedown. It's on the Food Network. It's a brand new show, and they were coming through Denver. So people have asked me already, how did you know about that? How did you become part of the filming and stuff like that? Well, since I have been unemployed for quite some time, I was like, oh shit, a bitch needs money. So I was looking at Craigslist. Which is never good to look for a job on Craigslist. But I was like, let's just see what's out there. And, in between all the scams that are posted, on the gigs, there's a gigs page. On the gigs page of Craigslist, I just happened upon this TV show that was filming in Denver. They said it was for Food Network. They said it was NFL Tailgate. And it's ballsy. It is ballsy for the scammers to use NFL in the logo or the title or anything, because NFL, they're on it. They will sue you. They keep track of their trademark for sure. So I saw this, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little sketched out because the ad was part of this other like production company, like unknown production company, right? And this company is basically, their whole job is to find people in the background for shows. That's what I learned about this, which was fun. And so I was like a little sketched out, and I go onto their website, and their website was a little sketchy as well. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I looked into it a little bit more, and I'm like, I think this is legit. And so I signed up for it on a Monday. And they're like, we'll let you know in the next 24 hours if you'll be selected to go on the show. I had to upload a photo, a little bit about myself, whatever. And they're like, filming is going to be on Thursday. So I saw this on Monday, filled out all the information on Monday, found out Monday evening I was selected. I'm like, cool. And then on Thursday, I went to the location at the time that they needed me to be there, and we did this whole thing for filming, and they paid me $200 to do it. So I was like, hell yeah, since this is paid too, let me definitely do this. So I thought it would be fun. Sure, let's do a little TV something, and they're gonna pay me $200, which I know $200 isn't a whole lot, especially because it was the whole day. Oof, it was pretty bad. But I was like, this will be fun, let's do it. So Thursday comes around, and they give you the directions on like what to do for this. And I was super sketched out. I'm not going to lie. I left my wedding rings at home because they were like, oh yeah, at 7:00 in the morning, make sure you're there. The call time was 7:00 in the morning. You're going to meet at this parking lot under a bridge on Colfax, right across the street from the stadium. And I was like, sketch. I'm going to get mugged. So I did not bring my wedding rings to that. I was like, just in case, you never know. Turned out everything was legit, and it was totally fine, and it was safe, and everything was great. But I just saw like under a bridge, Colfax, 7 a.m. I was like, I don't know about that. So I just played it safe a little bit. But when I got there, it was this whole production. It was really cool. They had tents. They had a food tent. They had like our little tent where the extras go and chill when we're not needed. And then they had a whole setup, and because it was the Food Network and it was a food show, they had these shelves full of like extra ingredients and food, and they had all the cameras, and they had banners, and they had balloons for the teams. And I was like, wow, this is a whole thing. So I showed up wearing Broncos gear, of course, because I'm here in Denver, but everyone showed up wearing Broncos gear. And the show, it was Broncos versus the Colts in Indianapolis, and I don't think anyone showed up with any like indie stuff, but they had like extra hats, extra jerseys and shirts that had like the logo, like Colts, whatever on it. And so they tried to find some people who would be willing to wear it, but I stuck with my Broncos stuff, so I was Team Broncos. And then, I was literally just in the background clapping and wooing the whole time. And a lot of the other people who were there with me, they're like, oh yeah, I've never done this before. I was like, same. How'd you guys hear about it? Craigslist. A lot of people saw it on Craigslist. And then we were talking about it just a little bit more, and people were like, yeah, I've never done this before. They're like, what else do I say besides woo in the background? And I was like, you guys just gotta get creative with it. You can say woo, you can say let's go, you could say Denver, you could say Broncos, you could say good job, you could say you got this. And I just kept like listing off all these things, and they're like, wow, you are a radio person, you know your words, which I thought was kind of funny. But it was just like this cute little minimal thing. But yeah, I technically was on TV, and I put it out there on Instagram, and so many people were like, oh my God, I'm watching, I see you. And it's so funny because my face pops up for like half a second like you saw in that clip, but people were excited about it. I was excited about it. I told my mom, and she was like, oh, I'm watching, and it was fun. So that was cool, although that's not my first time on TV, because a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, you should be on TV. You should do TV stuff, which I've heard my whole entire life. And like, I like TV, but like, I don't want to be on the news necessarily. That stuff depresses me. I'm good. But people were like, yeah, you should do TV stuff. And I have done TV stuff in the past. I've done a couple commercials. Yeah, I've done a couple commercials, and they're super embarrassing. I can't believe I dug them up to put on this podcast to show you because, oh gosh, it's bad. It's really bad. If you are super bored and you want to watch this over and over again, they are on YouTube. I'm not going to give you the directions to go and find it, but if you really want to go and find it, you can do that. But I am going to play them for you here on this podcast. So when I lived in Southern Illinois, I was going to school and I was working at a radio station. I was working at this radio station, and everyone at this radio station, especially because, you know, it's a small town, everyone gave up. They gave up, and they gave you the bare minimum effort that they had to do. But it was like, oh, let Nina do it, because you got paid a little extra to do events and remotes and this and that. But they didn't care. But I was a broke college student, so I did care. So I was like, let me do all these little small jobs. I'll absolutely do it. And the next thing I know, I'm kind of like the face of the radio station because no one else is doing anything. It's just Nina doing everything. So after a while, and after doing commercials, radio commercials for this car dealership, the car dealership was like, oh, we want Nina to kind of be our spokesperson. We'll still do our deal with the radio station, but we want her to do a TV commercial for us. So I did that. They're so bad. Just think cheesy car dealership commercial. And that's what this was. It was like, I don't know, 2011, 2012, I want to say. That time, somewhere in that time where I did these commercials, and they're really bad and they're super embarrassing. So I guess I'll play them for you here. Here you go.
Are you in the market for an SUV? Hey, it's Nina Blanco here at Auto Credit of Southern Illinois, and this month we're having our first annual SUV blowout sale. Our lots are packed full with over 100 Explorers, Trailblazers, Durangos, even Expeditions. And this month we're going to do anything to help you find the perfect one. And here's the best part, at Auto Credit it's easy to get approved. Just $500 plus tax and you can drive home an SUV today. It's the SUV blowout sale going on right now at Auto Credit of Southern Illinois in Carbondale, Marion, Mount Vernon, and Benton.
Yikes. Bad. Not great. Not great at all. I know. The outfit choice, terrible. The jumping, awful. I know. But I did what they wanted me to do, and they paid me for it. They didn't pay me much. I don't even know what they paid me, which tells me that it wasn't a whole lot, and I totally got gypped. But whatever. It is what it is. What makes matters worse is there were 2 of those commercials. There was another commercial. This second commercial, I won't lie, I think I like it a little bit better than the first commercial because there's not as much jumping involved. But here you go. Here's the second commercial.
It's the season for giving, and this month Auto Credit and H&R Block have teamed up to give back to our community and give you a great deal. During Auto Credit's November Food for 5 drive, you can get $5 off your down payment for every can of food you bring in, up to $500. Let's feed Southern Illinois this holiday season and get you into a great car. It's easy to get approved. Call 997-5800 or get approved online right now at goautocredit.com.
Need a car, you know that you can get it at Auto Credit, yeah!
Auto Credit of Southern Illinois. Yeah. They're still in business, by the way. They totally are still in business. But yeah, those commercials are still unfortunately up on YouTube. I can't believe I actually showed them to you. I dug them up from the grave, and I want them to stay in the grave. And yet, here I am, putting myself on blast, which is pretty awful and embarrassing. So there you go. But yeah, I did those commercials a long time ago, and it was funny because one time in Southern Illinois when I was living down there, I got recognized from those commercials, and it was so bad. This freaking hillbilly. Okay, Southern Illinois, I'm sorry. I said it. It is what it is. But this dude, total hillbilly, missing a couple teeth. I was at the Dollar General. It's on par. But I was at the Dollar General just, I don't know, getting whatever stuff I needed. And this one dude, hillbilly guy, literally yelled across the store and was like, "Are you Nina Blanco from them auto credit commercials?" And I was like, "Yep." He's like, "Auto credit, yeah!" And I was like, "Okay, gotta go now." It was so bad. Oh, man. But yeah, there's my little, 15 minutes of fame in Southern Illinois doing some commercials. And those commercials ran for a long time. Probably like maybe 6 months, maybe a whole year. I don't know. But between those two commercials, they were there for a hot minute and it was embarrassing. Anyway, in terms of like, I don't know, future TV stuff, I was so close to being on House Hunters here in Colorado. I was so sad that it didn't happen. So what had happened was the boy and I, we were searching for a house. We knew we wanted to buy a house and we got pre-qualified. You go through the whole thing and then like, yay, we get a real estate agent and you go and look at houses and then the market was crazy. But we finally found this one house and we put an offer in and our offer was taken. And we're like, oh shit, we're about to buy a house. This is so exciting. And so we set it all up and we're excited about this house and we're going to our inspection. Thank goodness for this inspector. He is currently retired. He's no longer doing it, but this was the best possible inspector in Denver that we could have ever asked for. He was recommended to us by a real estate agent, but this inspector went through the house and he was like, I was like, sir, tell me, because he's like, ooh, this stuff over here and this stuff over here and this stuff over here. And I was like, well, anything that we're looking at is going to need some work. We knew that. We were ready for that. And we're like, if it's a little bit of a fixer-upper, we can do that. But we want to just make sure that essentially like the foundation of the house, like nothing crazy is going to happen after we buy this house. And so I asked the man straight up. I said, sir, what are your honest thoughts on this house? I said to him, if I was your daughter, if that was your son, if your kids came to you and said, I want to buy this house, would you let them buy that house? And he was like, honestly, no, I would not let you buy this house, because there was some crawl space that they tried to say that didn't exist, but it really did exist, and it was sealed up for the last 30 years, so who knows what was under there. Bad. And he was like, there's just too much on this house. That crawl space thing is the biggest red flag. Don't do it. And I was like, shit. So eventually the deal on the house kind of fell through, but before that, and I was excited about buying this house, I was like, let me look up House Hunters, because I was watching it and I was like, they're coming through Denver. Denver keeps popping up a whole lot. So I went on the website. I just Googled House Hunters, how to get on the show or something like that. And a link came up and it was a whole application and I applied and I heard back from them and they're like, yeah, you can be on House Hunters, but you have to already have a house that you're going to buy. Like House Hunters is kind of fake because everyone that's on that House Hunter show already has bought the house before they got onto the show. That's kind of the deal of it. And then they were like, if we select you and we go through with this whole episode, we'll make over one room for you. And that was like part of what we would get in return. And I was like, cool. And the boy was like, cool, I'll take a whole redone room on a house that would need some work. And so we're like, cool. We sign up for it. But then that whole thing with the inspection happened. The house fell through. I had to tell them, sorry, actually, we're not buying that house. It's not happening. And then they're like, well, if you can get another house in the next month, then you can be on the show. But if it's any time past that, nope, we're not going to be able to do it. Time is just not on your side. And I was like, shit. And so it fell through and I was not on House Hunters here in Denver, but it almost happened. It really did. It almost happened. So if you're buying a house, try it. Why not? See if they're casting in Denver. My mom was on TV, and this was my first experience seeing TV stuff, how they film, how they do it. And my mother, Norma, she was on Wheel of Fortune. She was on Wheel of Fortune back in the day. In 2005, she was on Wheel of Fortune. It aired, the episode, I had to look it up. The episode aired March 15th of 2005. I was 14 years old, and oh my goodness, Norma did not do well. I wish I could grab some video from that, but it just doesn't exist on the internet. believe me, I have spent hours searching for this video, see if it's on YouTube, any of it. It's not there. It's not there. It's terrible. But my mom somewhere, she has it burned, the episode burned on a DVD somewhere in her house. And we have to find it because I'm telling you, it does not exist on the internet. I promise I've looked everywhere. But my mom was on Wheel of Fortune in 2005 and she did so bad. She did so bad. And I do feel bad saying that. I'm sorry, Mom, but she knows it too. She failed at that Wheel of Fortune. It was so bad. She was on it, and obviously there were a couple other contestants, like 2 other contestants and her, and she did the whole like intro, like she was on the show, the whole thing. The way that she got on the show was actually kind of interesting, and I wonder if they even still do it. It was like Wheel of Fortune on tour or something like that, and they came through Chicago. We were living in Chicago, and it was like one afternoon they put it out there to the whole Chicagoland, like come to, it was at the time the Arlington racetrack. Now it's going to be demolished and turned into the new location for the Chicago Bears, which is crazy. But they were like, hey, on a random like Tuesday or something in the middle of the afternoon, come to this Wheel of Fortune thing, and we're getting contestants. You can play Wheel of Fortune, you can win real prizes, and you can even potentially become a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. And so my mom went with my Aunt Rosie, and I was there too, and I went along with them. And basically everyone that was like, I was under 18, so I was not allowed to sign up, but I was there for it. So my mom, if you're 18 and older, you go and you sign up and you register, and they're playing like mini mock games of Wheel of Fortune up on this like stage. They set it all up. They had like a fake wheel and everything, and you're playing actual like mini games of Wheel of Fortune with other contestants there. And then everyone who registered, you have like a number, and they just pick at random. And so my aunt was never called to go play one of these mock games, unfortunately. But my freaking mother, her number was chosen by random to go up and play a mock game of Wheel of Fortune, and this bitch won. She won. She won the little mock game. And her prize was that she gets to be a real contestant on Wheel of Fortune. And so she was so excited. She was screaming. She's like, oh my gosh, I won. I'm going to practice. I'm going to be so good on the actual Wheel of Fortune. I'm going to win so much money. She took it to the extreme. For the next, it was like 2 months. And then we would go to California, LA, and go film this. And for those 2 months, every single night, we watched Wheel of Fortune, of course, dinner time, whatever. It was on TV. We watched it. And then she also bought like a $30, $50 like PC game on her computer. And it was just a Wheel of Fortune game. And so she would practice all day. That she would look at the different topics. She would look at the different puzzles, you know, A, E, I, O, U. What's the next best letter to do? All of it. And she was hardcore with it. I will give her props for that. But when it came to the actual filming, and it came to us going to California. We went to California. It was very exciting. We went to LA. We went to Disneyland in California because, hey, we're there. Why not? And so it was a lot of fun. It was my mom, myself, and my stepdad, and it was great. But when we went to do the filming of Wheel of Fortune, we were like way up in the nosebleeds, couldn't even see us. But, you know, we would have our time to shine if my mom wins later. The family goes up on stage and stuff like that. We never got to do that part, but we were way up in the nosebleeds, and they had like the applause, no applause, the whole sign. They would flip it up, and then the producers would try to amp people up, like, yeah, give it all you got, like in the audience, and clap, clap, clap. When I say my hands never hurt so much because I had to clap so much during all that filming. It was crazy. But they did like a couple rounds. They did several like days worth of shows, like different show. What am I trying to say? They did several episodes. They did several episodes in that one filming day. And it was a lot of fun, but my hands definitely hurt from all that clapping. And then when my mom was finally going to film hers, she went up there, she did the whole thing. She was so cute up on the stage, and she just kept losing. I mean, luck was just not on her side. half of it was definitely her fault in like a bad guess, guessing wrong letters, stuff like that. But honestly, the other half of it, it was bad. I don't know if that wheel is rigged. It seems a little rigged. I'm not sure. But every time my mom would spin, it was lose a turn, bankrupt, lose a turn, bankrupt again. It was bad. And so my mom, half of it in the actual episode that aired, they cut a lot of her turns out. And it was because she kept spinning on lose a turn and bankrupt. And so that sucked. And every time she didn't, do that, she would try to guess an extra letter and then she'd miss that letter and then her turn was over and she didn't get the extra money. And then other times she just straight up missed what the puzzle was. And it's so annoying. So we still laugh at this to this day because at the time I was in high school, school is not my jam. School is not my favorite thing, and that's okay. Some people in school just do not mix. I am one of those people. So Nina going to school, it's always been a struggle. And at this time, I was in the middle of high school, and my parents were always trying to, get on me, do your homework, study, whatever. My mom would tell me, Nina, you just need a couple more hours of studying. You can do it. You can pass this test. You can pass with flying colors. Always, she would tell me that. And this woman missed it when her puzzle was passing with flying colors. You want to know what this woman said? She goes to guess. I'm going to guess this puzzle. She does it. She's like, I'm going to do it. And so they're like, okay, what's the puzzle? This woman says, messing with glowing colors. I wanted to scream, but I wasn't allowed to do that while in the audience. But my stepdad and I look at each other and our jaws are just dropped. This woman actually just said that. She says this to me on a daily basis. You can do it, Nina. Pass with flying colors. And she guesses messing with glowing colors? Ma'am! My family still to this day makes fun of her for that. Like, oh, Norma, she's over there messing with glowing colors. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Oh my goodness. She did so bad. What's super messed up about this Wheel of Fortune experience is that, so this is 2005, right? And Wheel of Fortune at the time, we had to pay for our own airfare. We had to pay for our own hotel. And my mom being on the game show, they did give her like a consolation prize, and it was $500. That doesn't cover the hotel and the airfare at all for us. So the year after my mom went on, in 2006, I guess, they changed the rules. And they're like, we'll buy your airfare, we'll buy your hotel, and your consolation prize goes up from $500 to $1,000. So we missed out on all of that. We actually lost money going for this experience, which is not what's supposed to happen on Wheel of Fortune. But yeah, we lost money. My poor mother. We don't let her live that down. I have to find that DVD. When I do, I will most definitely try to get some of it up here. But as of right now, it just doesn't exist anywhere on the internet. It sucks. It sucks really bad. But yeah, my mother was on Wheel of Fortune. And I've been thinking to myself, my mom was on Wheel of Fortune. That's so cool. I sometimes tell people that if it comes up in conversation, they're like, wow, that's so awesome. How did that happen? And we go through the whole story of it. And I was like, yeah, they're like, you have to go to Wheel of Fortune and redemption. You need to find redemption for your mother. I was like, I know, but I don't even know how to go about it. And so I think it was maybe in 2019, maybe even 2020. No, that doesn't make sense. So I think it was in 2019, right before 2020 and the whole pandemic thing happened. But in 2019, I was like, I'm going to apply for game shows and I'm going to apply to Wheel of Fortune and I'm going to, get redemption for my mom, but I want to go on all these game shows. And I was like, let me apply for a bunch of game shows. And so I did. This was in 2019, I swear. But then the pandemic happened and who knows what happened with all that information. But I think I want to continue that dream. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to apply for game shows. I think it would be so much fun to be on a game show. My mom gets to walk around saying, oh yeah, I was on Wheel of Fortune one time. I mean, it was embarrassing, the results at the end of it, but I was on Wheel of Fortune one time. That's still cool to say. So I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to apply for game shows. You literally can just Google it. You just Google like whatever game show and how to be on the show, and stuff will come up, and you just apply. And I'm going to do it. That's my goal, is to get on a game show. I don't know how many game shows. I'm not going to give myself a time limit. It doesn't have to be this year, but at some point in my life, I want to be on a game show, and I think I should get back to applying for it and trying. So I'm going to do just that, and I think I'm going to go forward and try to apply for a bunch of game shows, because why not? If my mom can get on Wheel of Fortune, I can do it. I can get on something. I've been watching a lot of The Circle on Netflix, and I've had people tell me, like, Nina, you would be so good at The Circle. So I'm going to apply for The Circle for sure. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it would be fun to apply for a ton of different game shows. I know when I was applying for game shows, I think Ellen DeGeneres had 2 different game shows at the time, and it was like Game of Games and something else. And I applied for both of those. I don't think I ever heard anything back. I think when I do apply, I need to not put my spam email, because I will never see if I was reached out to. But anyway, I have the boy has a couple cousins who live in LA, and they work on TV shows, not game shows necessarily, but I'm going to ask and see if they happen to know any secrets of how to get on game shows. But yeah, it happened for my mom, totally by random, and I think if I put my mind to it, I can do it. So that's my goal. Again, not necessarily for this year. We'll see. But sometime in my life, I want to be on a game show. So we'll see if we can make that happen. But I did want to talk about the few times that I have been on TV. Let's not talk about those commercials that I did. Please don't bring it up. I mean, if you need to bring it up, I guess. But yeah, I did those commercials. They're really bad. I'm aware of that. I still to this day don't really know how to dress myself most of the time, but I definitely did not know how to dress myself at that time. My hair in one of those commercials was green. I don't know, guys. I just don't know. I was struggling for money and said yes to everything. That's my only explanation. But yeah, if you do want to watch that show that I was on a couple weeks ago, it was on the Food Network. I know they definitely do reruns. It's called the NFL Tailgate Takedown. It's a brand new show. They do show reruns before the new episodes come out, so you can look out for me on the Broncos versus Colts show that came out. Okay, that does it for me. I promise you I will get on a better schedule again for the podcast. I already have so many ideas of future episodes, so that will happen. Oh, hold on one more time, because I need to talk about Galentine's Day. Yeah, so the podcast, first of all, happy 1 year to me. Totally missed it. Totally forgot. Whatever. It was earlier this month. But yeah, happy 1 year to the podcast. And also Galentine's Day. I want to do it again. I did not set up my own like official nonprofit or anything like that. That is just something in the future that maybe I can think about. For now, this cute, silly little podcast project of mine, it is a passion project. It's something that I like to do. It helps me just in general get things out there. And doing the Galentine's Day fundraiser, it was just really awesome to do last year. And the fact that it was successful, that I was able to raise like $1,200 plus, it was a really great feeling, and we were able to do that together, and I hope that we can do it again, and I'm putting it out there. So Galentine's Day, it's happening again. We're launching this now, baby. You can find me on Venmo. You can find me on Cash App. You can find me on PayPal at the Nina Blanco. If you want to donate to my Galentine's Day fundraiser, this is just a personal fundraiser. The money does not go towards me in any way, shape, or form. The money, once again, we will keep that tradition. It's going to go to, it's in my neighborhood, this shelter. It's a women's shelter. We're going to celebrate women for Galentine's Day. Let these women know, hey, maybe you're struggling right now, but there are people thinking of you, and you deserve kindness, and you deserve new things. You deserve essentials that we can help provide for you. So that's what we're doing. We're going to raise money. I'm going to go out shopping again. I'm going to get the essentials, shampoo, conditioner, feminine hygiene products. I'm going to get some of the non-essentials, that'll make someone feel good about themselves. A little bit of nail polish, maybe some makeup, a new hairbrush, because we deserve those things. And so I'm going to be the outlet for you if you want to join me in raising money for Galentine's Day. Again, you can find me on Venmo, you can find me on Cash App, and it's the Nina Blanco, at the Nina Blanco. My username is the same, and you can send money there, and I promise you, I will get that money and I will get it to where it needs to go, towards these supplies for this women. It's for a shelter that's here in my neighborhood, Volunteers of America Irving Street Women's Shelter. So if you want to donate, please do. I am definitely opening up those accounts now. It's on Venmo, on Cash App, on PayPal, whichever way you would prefer, at the Nina Blanco. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to see where Galentine's Day takes us this year. We'll see. Can we beat last year's goal? Actually, last year's goal, we raised it. Can we beat last year, the amount that we had last year? Even if we don't beat that, any amount that comes in would be so helpful. If you can donate $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, whatever it may be, it's going to go towards some good, I promise you. And just like last year, I will bring you along with me the entire way on my social media. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, on Instagram. You know I love me some Instagram, so follow me there, baby, at the Nina Blanco. Let's do Galentine's Day right this year. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. Bye.